Sometimes life gives us moments that stop us in our tracks, moments that make us question everything we thought we knew. This is one of those stories. Imagine this. It's a warm summer day in Miami, Florida. A mother named Rebecca Martinez is sitting in her living room, her phone in hand, looking down at her two newborn baby girls sleeping peacefully side by side. Like any proud mother in this digital age, she wants to share this precious moment with the world. She snaps a photo. The babies look angelic, chubby cheeks, tiny fingers curled into little fists, that newborn sweetness that makes the whole world stop and say, "Aw." But when Rebecca posts that photo on Instagram, something unexpected happens, something that would change her life forever. Within hours, the comments start flooding in, hundreds of them, then thousands. People from all corners of the globe are stopping mid-scroll, staring at their screens, trying to process what they're seeing. Because these two babies, Sophia and Olivia Martinez, don't look like typical twins. They don't even look like they belong to the same family. Let me paint the picture for you. Sophia has fair skin, lighter than her mother's, with delicate features and eyes that seem to change color in different light. Olivia, lying right next to her sister, has rich, deep brown skin, darker than anyone else in the family. Their older sister, 3-year-old Maria, falls somewhere in between, but even she looks more like Sophia than Olivia. These are fraternal twins. They shared the same womb for 9 months. They were born on the same day, probably just minutes apart. They have the same mother, the same father, the same DNA mixing in their cells. And yet, if you saw them on the street, you'd think they were from completely different families, maybe even completely different races. The internet didn't know what to do with this. Now Rebecca knew her daughters were special. Every mother thinks their babies are special, right? But she wasn't prepared for what came next. The response was like a tidal wave, powerful, overwhelming, and impossible to stop. Some comments were beautiful. People wrote things like, "They're absolutely gorgeous," and "What a blessing to have such unique children." Mothers from around the world shared their own stories. Scientists and genetics enthusiasts tried to explain the phenomenon. Teachers said they'd use the photos to talk about diversity with their students. But then there were the other comments, the ones that made Rebecca's heart sink. "Are you sure they have the same father? One is so much prettier than the other. The darker one isn't as cute. They can't really be twins. Something doesn't add up here." Can you imagine? Here's a mother, exhausted from caring for two newborns and a toddler, just wanting to share her joy with friends and family. And instead, she's having to defend her children's existence. She's having to explain basic biology to strangers. She's having to read comments suggesting that her darker-skinned daughter is somehow less beautiful, less valuable, less worthy of love. It was appalling. It was heartbreaking. And unfortunately, it was also reality. But here's where Rebecca showed us all what real strength looks like. She could have deleted the photos. She could have made her account private. She could have hidden her beautiful girls from the cruel world. Instead, she doubled down. She kept posting. She kept sharing their story. The reception to sharing our babies online has been incredible in many ways. Rebecca wrote in one of her posts, her words careful but firm. "It really demonstrates how amazing Black genes are. We can produce children who are so extraordinarily special and unique." The overwhelming majority of comments have been filled with positivity and support. People from all over the world have showered us with love. She acknowledged the negative comments too. She didn't pretend they didn't hurt. "Of course, there have been some derogatory remarks along the way," she admitted. "But I suppose that comes with putting yourself out there on the internet." We've encountered comments questioning Olivia's beauty because of her darker complexion, which is heartbreaking. Then she said something powerful, something that needs to be heard. "Some people insist that the girls must be mixed race with a white parent, but we're African American. Gray eyes actually run in my family. 2 of our 3 daughters have them." This just demonstrates once again how incredible African American genetics truly are. Think about that for a moment. Within one family, within one set of twins even, you can have this extraordinary range of appearances. It's not about being mixed or pure or any of those boxes we try to put people in. It's about the beautiful, unpredictable, magnificent complexity of human genetics. By July, just months after she started sharing photos, Rebecca's Instagram account had grown to over 36,000 followers. 36,000 people who wanted to watch these little girls grow up, who wanted to be part of their story, who found something in Sophia and Olivia's faces that challenged them, inspired them, made them think differently about the world. And you know what? Rebecca kept posting. Because from her perspective, Sophia and Olivia were simply too special, too beautiful, too important not to share with the world. But these twins weren't just physically different from each other. Oh no, the differences went so much deeper than skin color. Our oldest daughter, Maria, is absolutely thriving in her role as big sister, Rebecca shared in an interview, and you could hear the pride in her voice. From the very first day she met the twins, she wanted nothing more than to hold them and hug them constantly. Picture little Maria, barely 3 years old herself, suddenly transformed from the baby of the family into the protective big sister. For 2 years, she'd been the center of attention, the youngest, the one everyone fussed over. And then, boom, two little sisters arrive at once, and instead of being jealous, Maria was thrilled. She was the baby of our family for 2 years, Rebecca explained. So I think she's genuinely excited to have someone to take care of now. Of course, she's still learning. Sometimes she gets a bit rough when trying to play with them, so we have to supervise closely. But overall, she's been a wonderful big sister who looks out for both Sophia and Olivia. Can you picture it? This tiny girl trying so hard to be gentle with these even tinier babies, sometimes squeezing a little too hard in her enthusiasm, always wanting to help, always wanting to be involved. It's the kind of sweet moment that happens in families everywhere, by where, regardless of what anyone looks like. And as Sophia and Olivia grew, from tiny newborns to chubby babies to curious toddlers, their personalities started to emerge. And here's where it gets really interesting. Their personalities were as different as their appearances. Sophia, the lighter-skinned twin, turned out to be the more contemplative one. She'd sit quietly, those unusual gray eyes watching everything, taking it all in. She needed time to warm up to new people, new situations. She was the observer, the thinker, content to study the world before jumping in. Olivia, meanwhile, was the opposite. She was vocal from day one, letting everyone know exactly what she needed and when she needed it. She was outgoing, ready to engage with anyone who came near. She was curious, bold, always reaching for new things, new experiences. These personality differences have nothing to do with their physical appearances, Rebecca emphasized. And this point is so important. They have everything to do with who they are as individual human beings. See, that's what people miss when they get caught up in how Sophia and Olivia look. They miss the actual humans. They miss the fact that one loves to cuddle and one wants to explore. They miss that one is shy and one is bold. They miss all the things that actually make a person who they are. Rebecca's Instagram kept growing. More and more people fell in love with these girls. The comments section became a community, people checking in for updates, celebrating milestones, sharing their own stories of diverse families. But more than that, Sophia and Olivia were changing minds. People who'd never thought much about genetics or race or diversity were suddenly learning. Teachers were using their photos in classrooms. Families were having conversations about differences and similarities. Scientists were explaining how pigmentation works. Two babies, just living their lives, were making the world a little bit more understanding. And here's what Rebecca wanted everyone to know. They're too special not to share with the world. Their existence challenges narrow definitions of what siblings should look like. They celebrate the magnificent diversity that's possible within a single family. Within a single family. Think about that. Not between different groups, different communities, different races, but within one family. Within siblings who shared a womb. But as Rebecca posted another photo of her three girls, Maria with her arms around both twins, all three of them giggling at something off camera, she had no idea that across the Atlantic Ocean, another family had been living this same story for years. A family who understood exactly what the Martinez family was experiencing. A family who'd been fielding the same questions, dealing with the same assumptions, challenging the same stereotypes. And their story? Well, their story was about to show us that what happened with Sophia and Olivia wasn't a one-time miracle. It was a beautiful reminder of how human genetics really works. Now let me take you across the ocean, far from the sunny streets of Miami, to a city in northern England called Manchester. The year is 2006, and we need to meet another family whose story will blow your mind. Sarah Wanklin and James Thompson were young and in love. Sarah was white, born and raised in England, with that pale skin that burns in the summer sun. James was black. His parents had emigrated from Jamaica years before, bringing with them rich traditions, beautiful accents, and strong family values. When Sarah and James fell for each other, they didn't sit around worrying about what people might think. They didn't stress about the challenges of being an interracial couple. What mattered most was that we wanted to be together, Sarah remembers. And you can hear in those simple words everything that love should be: pure, uncomplicated, real. They settled in Manchester, ready to build a life together, ready to start a family. And on August 15th, 2006, their dreams came true in the most extraordinary way. Sarah gave birth to twin girls. Being the romantic parents they were, James and Sarah gave their daughters beautifully intertwined names: Emma Grace Rose Thompson and Lily Grace Rose Thompson. The names flowed together like poetry, like two parts of the same song, because that's what twins are, right? Two parts of the same miraculous moment. But from the very first day, from the very first moment these babies opened their eyes, it was clear that Emma and Lily were going to be different. Emma came out looking just like her mother: light brown hair that would catch the sunlight, hazel eyes that shifted between green and brown depending on what she wore, and fair skin that Sarah knew would need lots of sunscreen every summer. Emma was her mother's mirror. Lily, on the other hand, was her father's daughter through and through: beautiful dark brown eyes that seemed to hold depth upon depth, black hair with those gorgeous natural curls that would make people envious, and rich deep brown skin that glowed with health and vitality. Lily was James in miniature. They were twins, born minutes apart, but if you put them side by side, you'd swear they couldn't possibly be related. We never worried about it or saw it as unusual, Lily says now, years later, with the kind of matter-of-fact tone that shows just how normal this has always been for her. It's just how we've always been. But for everyone else, oh, for everyone else, it was anything but normal. Sarah remembers those early days with crystal clarity. Picture this: a young mother, exhausted like all new mothers are, pushing a double pram through the streets of Manchester. She's got her two baby girls, both sleeping peacefully in their matching pink blankets. A stranger approaches, smiling, ready to admire the babies. They look in the pram, they see Emma, they smile wider. Then their eyes move to Lily, and Sarah can literally see the moment their brains short circuits. I could see the cognitive dissonance happening in people's minds, Sarah explains, and there's a hint of humor in her voice now, though it must not have been funny at the time. They would look at me, then look at Emma, then look at Lily, and you could practically see the calculations happening behind their eyes. The math wasn't adding up for them. White mother. One white baby, one black baby, does not compute. Eventually, someone would work up the courage to ask, Are they twins? Yes, Sarah would answer, probably for the 100th time that week. But, but one's black and one's white. Yes, Sarah would say again, her patience probably wearing thin. That's correct. They're fraternal twins. The genetics worked out that way. And here's what's beautiful about Sarah and James. They never got angry at these questions. They understood that most people weren't being mean or judgmental. They were just genuinely confused, trying to understand something that seemed impossible based on everything they thought they knew about how genetics works. Most people were simply genuinely curious, Sarah emphasizes. They were trying to understand something that seemed impossible based on their limited understanding of genetics. As time went by and people got to know the girls, they stopped seeing color and just saw the beauty in both of them as individuals. But wouldn't you love to understand how this actually happens? How two babies from the same parents, conceived at the same time, can look so completely different? Well, let me introduce you to Dr. Rachel Martin, a statistical geneticist working in Boston, Massachusetts. She's devoted her career to understanding human genetics, and she's got some fascinating insights to share. When people call these twins one in a million, they're not quite right, Dr. Martin explains. Fraternal twins occur in approximately 1 out of every 100 births. When a biracial couple has fraternal twins, the characteristics that show up in each child depend on numerous variables. The ancestral origins of both parents, the complex genetics of pigmentation, and basically a genetic lottery that happens at conception. Think of it like this. Every human being carries genes from all their ancestors. Sarah carried genes from her English family going back generations. Genes for lighter skin, lighter hair, lighter eyes. But she also carried other genes, hidden ones, from ancestors further back. James carried genes from his Jamaican heritage, genes for darker skin, darker hair, darker eyes. But he too carried hidden variations, genetic possibilities that might not show in him, but could show in his children. When Emma was conceived, she happened to get more of the lighter gene variants from both parents. When Lily was conceived, she got more of the darker variants. It's random, it's chance, it's the beautiful lottery of genetics. But here's where it gets really interesting and really important. Skin color is not a simple binary trait, Dr. Martin stresses. It's not a matter of being simply dark or light. It's what we call a quantitative trait existing on a continuous spectrum. Every human being falls somewhere along this gradient. In other words, there's no such thing as black genes or white genes. There are just genes, genes that evolved over thousands of years as humans spread across the globe, adapting to different amounts of sunlight, different environments, different circumstances. And here's the kicker, the thing that should make everyone sit up and pay attention. The entire concept of distinct biological races is a human invention without scientific foundation, Dr. Martin states flatly. Let that sink in for a moment. Race, the thing that divides our world, that starts wars, that determines who gets opportunities and who doesn't, that makes people look at twins like Emma and Lily and refuse to believe they're sisters. Race has no genetic or scientific basis whatsoever. Science journalist Elizabeth Colbert puts it beautifully. Modern science confirms that the visible differences between people are historical accidents, the products of mutations, migrations, natural selection, the isolation of certain populations, and interbreeding among others. These are not racial distinctions because race itself, as a biological category, has no genetic or scientific basis. Craig Venter, the scientist who helped sequence the human genome, literally read the instruction manual for human beings, said it even more directly. Race has no genetic or scientific basis whatsoever. None, zero. It's something we made up. A story we told ourselves to explain differences that are really just the result of where our ancestors happened to live and who they happened to have children with. Emma and Lily Thompson are living, breathing proof of this truth. Fast forward to today. Emma and Lily are teenagers now, navigating high school, dealing with homework and friendships and all the drama that comes with being a teenager. They've grown up hearing the questions, seeing the surprised looks, explaining over and over again that, yes, they're twins. And you know what? They've thought deeply about what it all means. Racism is when someone judges you based on your skin color instead of who you really are as a person, Lily explains, and there's a wisdom in her words that belies her young age. Emma nods in agreement. It's a negative thing because it can really hurt people's feelings and limit their opportunities in life. Their father, James, who now owns an auto repair shop, knows about racism firsthand. He carries memories that still sting, like the time when he was a boy walking around with his brothers and a car full of men drove by, shouting slurs, making him feel unsafe in his own neighborhood, making him feel like he didn't belong. But times have changed, James insists, and you can hear both hope and caution in his voice. Things aren't perfect, but they're different now. And maybe that's true, because here's the remarkable thing. Both Emma and Lily say they've never experienced overt racism or discriminatory treatment. People are surprised by them, yes. Curious, absolutely, but not cruel, not hateful. People see us together and assume we're just really good friends. Emma says with a laugh. They're usually shocked when we tell them we're twins, because one of us is black and one of us is white. But it's never felt like people were being mean about it, just surprised. And here's my favorite part of their whole story. When you ask Emma and Lily about their differences, they don't talk about skin color. They don't talk about race. You know what they talk about? Emma is really into fashion and makeup, Lily says, rolling her eyes in that affectionate way sisters do. She loves pink and anything sparkly and feminine. That's totally not my style. I don't like pink at all. I'm much more of a tomboy. I'd rather be outside playing sports than worrying about clothes. That's what matters to them. Not melanin, not genes, not the external differences that fascinate everyone else. What matters is that Emma loves fashion and Lily loves sports. That Emma is girly and Lily is a tomboy. That they're sisters who love each other and occasionally drive each other crazy, just like sisters everywhere. They've internalized something that took humanity thousands of years to figure out scientifically. Who we are has nothing to do with what we look like. So here we are at the end of this story, two families, the Martinez family in Miami and the Thompson family in Manchester, four little girls, Sophia and Olivia, Emma and Lily, who are teaching the world lessons that adults should have learned long ago. What's the lesson? It's simple, really. Human genetics is messy, it's complex, it's unpredictable, and it's absolutely beautiful in its diversity. These twins prove that siblings can look completely different while sharing the deepest bonds. They prove that families come in all configurations, all combinations, all colors. They prove that love and connection transcend physical appearance. Most importantly, they challenge us to ask ourselves a hard question. Why do we place so much emphasis on skin color in the first place? Dr. Martin's research confirms what these families live every day. Race is not a biological reality. It's a social construct, a set of categories we invented and maintained despite their lack of scientific foundation. Boxes we built to divide people who were never really that different to begin with. Rebecca Martinez, Sarah Thompson, James Thompson. These parents navigate the world with grace. They endure the stares, the questions, the occasional cruelty with dignity. They understand that simply by sharing their family's stories, simply by existing authentically, they have an opportunity to change hearts and minds. And they're doing it, one Instagram post at a time, one surprise stranger at a time, one classroom discussion at a time. In the faces of Sophia and Olivia, Emma and Lily, we don't see evidence of division. We see proof of the magnificent diversity that makes humanity so endlessly fascinating. Their message is simple but profound. Look beyond the surface. Embrace complexity. Celebrate the beautiful accident of genetics that makes each human being unique. Because here's the truth, the differences we've been taught to see as dividing lines, they're actually threads in the rich tapestry that binds us all together. We're all human. We're all related. We're all part of the same beautiful, messy, complicated family. And maybe, just maybe, if we can learn to see Sophia and Olivia as sisters, if we can accept that Emma and Lily share the same blood despite looking different, we can start to see all of humanity the way we should have been seeing it all along, as one family, with beautiful, meaningless, wonderful differences that make life interesting, but with a fundamental sameness that matters so much more. That's the real story here. Not that these twins look different, but that despite looking different, they're exactly the same where it counts, in their hearts, in their DNA, in their humanity. And isn't that a beautiful thing?